The story began with a peculiar boy in our class named Oscar. He seemed odd to everyone, often zoning out and looking around with a terrifying expression. Two curious friends decided to investigate, and after learning where he lived, they visited his home one day when he was absent. His mother opened the door, and claiming to be his friends, they asked a few questions. The boy's behavior puzzled his mother too. Intrigued, they decided to follow him. After school, he consistently headed towards the same neighborhood. They followed him until he stopped and waited. Suddenly, a black dog emerged, approaching him directly as if having a conversation. The boy spoke to the dog nervously and fearfully. This continued for 5 minutes until the dog went back the way it came and disappeared. The incident deepened their curiosity. The next day, they approached the boy and started asking questions. Instead of giving coherent answers, he tried to ask them bizarre questions. When they mentioned seeing him talking to a black dog, his expression changed. "How did you see it?" he asked. They replied it was just a normal dog, but he insisted it was not a dog, but a spirit. Intrigued, they listened to his story. A week ago, on a Tuesday, everything was normal. However, when he went to bed, there was a shadow next to the window. The door suddenly closed, and it began talking to him, forcing him to do whatever it said, threatening his family. Fearing for his loved ones, he reluctantly agreed. To communicate with him during the day, it appeared as black animals. Feeling increasingly foolish, he sought help. Sympathizing with the boy, they decided to help. They hid in the street the boy frequented, and a black cat approached. As they neared the boy, the cat looked at them, and a ringing sound echoed, stating, "Now you belong to me." They tried to escape, but found themselves unable to move. The entity declared they had to help or harm their loved ones. Helpless, they accepted. The entity vanished towards the street's end. Rushing to the friend's house, they discussed finding a solution and learned of a local expert who had helped others in similar situations. Visiting the expert, they explained the situation. The expert cautioned them about the difficulty but suggested making a deal. Curious, they asked what deal, and the expert replied they had to figure it out themselves. As days passed, the situation worsened. Moving shadows at night and phantom voices in an empty house haunted them. They reunited to discuss a solution and came up with a risky plan, offering a body to the entity. One of them had a cousin with a terminal illness, and they decided to propose using that body. Talking to the cousin, who had nothing to lose, they approached the entity and proposed the deal. They would provide a body, and in return, the entity would leave them alone. Reluctantly, the entity agreed. They took the entity to the cousin, and it entered the body. After some tremors and awakening, the entity confirmed the agreement. A few days later, news of the cousin's death arrived, saddening them but ultimately freeing them from the terrifying situation.